Well, first off, thank you all thank you for coming out here today and being willing to hear what I have to say. I just want you to know that for the press, I truly support freedom of press. I think it's one of the things that makes our country so great. And I really hope that you'll be able to tell my story a little bit better instead of just reporting and repeating maybe some things that you don't like about me or things that were on social media in 2018. You see, the reason why I ran for Congress is because I really don't respect what our government has become. As just an ordinary American, someone who's had to work hard all my life, someone who's been married for almost 25 years and raised 3 kids, and I gotta tell you, my 3 kids are the greatest part of my life. That's the best thing I've ever done, is to be a mom. I really love our country, I love our freedoms, and I sincerely want all of your children, my children, and all of us to continue to have the opportunity to have the American dream. But our government is failing us. You see, we're approaching nearly $30 trillion in debt. As a successful business owner for over 20 years, if I ran my company the way this government runs and spends and wastes and puts us in debt with our own hard-earned tax dollars, I'd be out of business a long time ago and we'd be homeless on the streets. But it's much worse than that. For decades now, this government has sold out our American worker, sent our jobs overseas to foreign countries. We've opened our borders wide open to be flooded with illegals coming into our country. Think about Kate Steinle, who was murdered on a pier in California. She died in her father's arms. Krisha Odette, her father served our country 4 tours in the Middle East, protecting our freedoms. When he came back home, his daughter was killed by an illegal alien in Texas. These are the things that shouldn't happen, but these are the policies that are allowed and continued. Our country has made it legal and funded with our tax dollars over 62 million abortions, murdering God's creation in the womb. That is a sin, a disgusting evil that is unfathomable. I can't even believe that it continues. But here's the thing, all of these women that have gone through that, it leaves a hole in their soul that never heals. And those women have been taught that this is the way that they should achieve. This is the way they can build a career. This is a way that they can solve the problem that they didn't want in the first place. That's a horrible lie. It's a terrible lie. As a mother and a woman who's had a successful career, I can tell you being a mom is the greatest gift of my life. I really hope that America can end the evil of abortion. I also want you to know that free speech matters. Free speech really matters. And yesterday, when the Democrats and 11 of my Republican colleagues decided to strip me of my committee assignments, Education and Labor and the Budget Committee, you know what they did? They actually stripped my district of their voice. They stripped my voters of having representation to work for them for the budget. A successful business owner that knows how to make a profit, not a loss. That's what my district voted for me for. I'm a mom with 3 kids who has taken my children to gun-free school zones their entire time they went to school. And when I was in 11th grade at 16 years old, when Joe Biden created gun-free school zones, one of my schoolmates brought 3 guns to school on a school bus in a duffel bag, brought them into the school in the first period class because he was very upset at 2 of his classmates. He pulled out his weapon, went to take control. The coach in the classroom knocked him to the floor, but he was able to reach in and get another one of his guns, fired his weapon, took control of our school, and we were held hostage in our classrooms for 5 hours. I want you to know, I know that fear that David Hogg felt. It's terrifying. It's terrifying when the only person in the building with a gun is very upset and is there to do evil. And there's no good guy with any guns to protect us. That's why when I was in Washington, I could go from Senate office to Senate office, just like David Hogg, and say, vote no to gun control, because we need our Second Amendment rights. We need to be able to protect our children with good guys with guns, just like the people up here protected themselves with 30,000 National Guard troops. Imagine that. They want to leave our children defenseless, but they will surround this place with a big, beautiful border wall and a whole bunch of good guys with guns. See, these are the policies that disgust me. These are the policies that disgust the American people. And these are the policies of hypocrites. You see, when the people in charge want to just spend your money and you have no choice but to give it to them, and believe me, I've been a good taxpayer for years now, and I always will be. And then they want to send our hard-earned dollars over to foreign nations and so-called foreign aid to fund things like border walls and bridges and schools and roads and abortion. That's wrong. Our tax dollars should stay here in America. Our tax dollars should fund our border wall, our bridges, our schools, our roads. They should help our homeless. They should help our people, our forgotten, our orphans, our foster care children. That's what our hard-earned tax dollars should be doing. Not what these people here have been doing for decades. Those that are in charge have been here for decades. Decades. Do you know the average age of retirement? It's around 64, 65 years old in the private sector, but not here in Congress. They cling to power as long as they can because apparently it's addictive and they can't give it up. This is something that I just can't tolerate. I can't take it, and the American people are so sick of it. You see, a record number of Americans voted for President Trump. Record number of Republicans voted for President Trump. Do you want to know why? It's because they loved his policies. They loved his fight. They loved the fact that for once we had a president that stood up for America, stood up for American businesses, and remembered the forgotten man. He was a president that didn't care about your skin color because God created us all equal, and thank God our Constitution affirms that. He was a president that wanted every single person to achieve, and that's why we supported him. That's why I've always supported him. And I want to tell you, Republican voters support him still. The party is his. It doesn't belong to anybody else.